Hey there! In today's video, I want to share with you how to build a shrimp breeding tank. We'll cover everything from what you need to how to build it and how to get your shrimp breeding to the masses. But first, if you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you again for all your support. All right, so the whole reason why I'm doing this video and building a shrimp tank is because my colonies of Neocaridina cherry shrimp and blue rilly shrimp have exploded recently. I can hardly keep them from taking over my tanks. I don't know if maybe it's just springtime and the shrimp are feeling frisky or not, or if it's something in my water. I really have no idea. All I know is that I've got blue rillies and cherry shrimp coming out of my ears right now, and I have to do something about it. The thought has crossed my mind to have like a side hustle going of breeding and selling shrimp, but before I can even do that, I have to prove to myself that I can do it in a small system like this. So in order for your shrimp breeding tank to be successful, there's a few things you need. So let's take a quick look at what those things are. Now the first thing you need is obviously a tank. I've had this little UNS 3N sitting in my closet for a while, so I figured it'd be perfect for this project. Now, when it comes to the type of tank, there are no rules to what you can and cannot use. I would just say, use your best judgment and think about it this way. If you were a shrimp, how much space would you want and need in order to live a happy, healthy little life? This UNS 3N is 3 gallons in size, so I think since my shrimp are still pretty small, it'll be absolutely perfect and a great starter point. So now that you have the tank all picked out, the next thing you're gonna need to look at is your light. With it being a shrimp breeding tank, you don't need any crazy high-powered light or anything specific. Just a standard nano light will work. In my case, I've got a O&F flat nano light that's just been sitting in my closet for a while. So I'm gonna toss it on this tank because it will give nice color to the shrimp and it will provide plenty of light for the plants to grow. So let's get that light installed and then we'll talk about what piece of equipment you need next. So now that the light's installed, it's time to talk about the filter, because with a shrimp breeding tank, you're going to need a filter. Now for this project, I got this cute little hang-on back filter from the folks over at Boost Plant. If I remember correctly, I think the name of the filter is like the Mighty Aquarium hang-on back, something like that. I'll put it down in the description here. And I believe I got the MG02 model, which according to the specifications on Boost Plant's website, it filters 15 gallons an hour. This being 3 gallons in size means that it's gonna turn over the tank water 5 times per hour, which is perfect. Now the filter does come with its own ceramic media, but I'll be swapping that out with some pre-existing media from one of my running filters. So now that the filter is installed, it's time to add the aqua soil. And since this isn't an aquascape, there's no need to shape or slope the substrate. Just simply throw in a quick layer, probably about 1 inch to 1.5 inches deep, and call it good with that. Once you've got the aqua soil in, it's time to add the plants. Since this is a shrimp breeding tank, there's no need to do anything crazy or fancy. Just find some low-tech, hardy plants that are gonna be very difficult to kill and just chuck them in there and let them grow on their own. This will provide a nice space for the shrimp to hide, as well as a platform for algae to grow on the leaves where the shrimp can feed off of. Now when it comes to hardscape, it really doesn't matter because it's not an aquascape. I'm gonna toss a couple of smaller stones in this tank just for the sake of variety for the shrimp, as well as maybe I'll create a small little cave to provide a dark spot for the shrimp to hide in. But since it's not an aquascape, it doesn't really matter if you throw hardscape in here or not. Now, one thing I want to note is that the cherry shrimp currently reside in my biotope inspired tank, which is off screen. So I'll be filling this tank with water from that tank. That way the shrimp will already be acclimated to it. It's like nothing has changed. All right, so now that all the plants are in, the tank is filled, the filter is running, everything's good to go, it's time to add the shrimp. I'm gonna catch as many as I can that are of the higher grade out of the South American biotope inspired tank. It's not a biotope, don't freak out. It's a South American inspired biotope. Anyway, I'm gonna grab the shrimp out of that tank and get them into the holding tank. I did read somewhere online that it's good to refresh the bloodline every now and then. So I'm gonna zip down to my LFS in a few days or so and grab some cherry shrimp to help refresh that bloodline a bit. So while I was setting this thing up, it dawned on me that I didn't have a space for the tank and I was already setting it up. So what I ended up doing is the forest tank behind me is sitting on the UNS stand, which is very open concept. It's huge underneath the stand. So I ended up putting that tank into the stand and that'll be its home for the time being. So originally I was gonna end the video right here, right now. But as I was filming, I got a notification on my phone that something super exciting is coming in the mail today, and it should be here any minute. So I'm not gonna end the video because you're gonna wanna see this. A few days ago, I ordered some red Galaxy Pinto shrimp from Boost Plant, and they shipped it overnight yesterday, so it's arriving in a couple minutes. So I think it's only fitting, since we're talking about shrimp, to do an unboxing of these little guys and then getting them into the forest tank, which is what will be their full-time home. So let's go grab that box and get to the unboxing. All right, now these guys are a fancier type of shrimp than the red cherries we just added into that breeder, so the acclimation process is a little bit different. What you're going to want to do is grab a clean bucket. It doesn't really matter what size, but I think in this case a 5-gallon bucket will suit us just fine. Then grab some airline tubing and make sure that you tie a knot at the end of the hose. If you don't tie a knot, the water flow will be way too fast and you won't be acclimating your shrimp properly. So tie a knot and then adjust the tightness of it as needed. I usually like to aim for the 1 to 2 drops a second range. Make sure that you have the airline tubing secured to the top of the water column in the tank because you don't want this to fall out while you're away. Also, make sure that you're pulling water from the top of the water column. The top of the water column is going to have less waste in it as opposed to the bottom of the tank, and you only want to acclimate your shrimp with the cleaner water. So now that the acclimation process has started and is going, it's time to sit back for about an hour to an hour and a half, and then just check in periodically to make sure the shrimp are still moving and acting healthy. All right, so the acclimation period is complete. It's been about an hour and a half and the shrimp are acting very healthy and lively. So I think it's time to put them in the tank. Now, one thing I want to stress is that you don't want to add the water from the bucket into the tank. This will mess up the parameters of the tank because you've got that water in there from the bag. So I'm just gonna grab my little shrimp net here. It's adjustable, which is super cool. And I'm just gonna fish them out one by one and add them into the tank. All right, so the shrimp are now in. Both the cherry shrimp are in the breeding tank and the red galaxy pintos are in the forest tank. I'm super excited to see how the red cherries breed and if they'll start soon. And I'm also really excited to see the red galaxy pintos develop and maybe breed a little bit in the big tank. Now, if you don't have any shrimp in any of your tanks, but you want to get started into breeding them, I would recommend going to a local Facebook group or maybe another local hobbyist who might have some shrimp that you can buy off them. I always like to recommend starting off with around 20 to 30 shrimp with your beginning colony, and that gives a nice rounded number for the shrimp colony to breed. The other important thing you want to do is have your water parameters matching that the shrimp will be healthiest in. Healthy shrimp equals a lot of shrimp because when they're healthy, they'll breed. So make sure your water parameters are on point with what the shrimp like, and then have a baseline good number of shrimp to start your colony. All right, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're not subscribed already, please go ahead and do so. As always, I'll see you in the next one.